Hello, this is Sean
And this is Chris
from Bear Reviews, here with the first episode of
To Read or Not to Read.
Today, we will review Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and delve into the lessons we have learned.
The title Rich Dad Poor Dad refers to the two main influences that Robert had as a child. His own father, the poor dad, worked a steady, safe job for a living, while the rich dad, the father of a friend, ran many businesses. Most of this book is told from the perspective of Robert learning from his rich dad about how to make money, and seeing how his poor dad made many financial mistakes.
In Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert presents 6 lessons taught to him by his rich dad. Lesson number 1, the rich don't work for money. This lesson presents the idea that the rich don't solely work for money. They use their job experience to invest in themselves, developing new skills and ideas. Furthermore, the rich invest the money they earn to create more money. They aren't trading time for money, they are trading money for more money.
Lesson number 2, why teach financial literacy? Robert writes, "It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep." Robert, in this section of the book, defines assets as anything that generates an income, and wealth comes from having assets that generate enough income so that all your expenses are covered and there's enough left over to invest in more assets. Just because your income is growing does not mean your expenses have to grow too.
Lesson 3, mind your own business. The point of this chapter is that an individual should not be spending their paychecks on excessive and lavish things, but investing as much of it as possible into income-generating assets. This lesson is saying basically, pay off your debts and start investing as soon as you can into things that will generate you revenue.
Lesson 4, the history of taxes and the power of corporations. This lesson talks of the many advantages that corporations can have. One advantage being minimizing taxation on reasonable expenses related to the money you earn independent of employment. Also, a corporation helps protect from lawsuits.
Lesson 5, the rich invent money. In this chapter, Robert says the single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. We can look at this quote in today's context and realize Robert is right. We can all create great wealth by using our minds to think outside the box. For example, there are so many opportunities to create a business online, or be creative and sell your own work.
Lesson 6, work to learn, don't work for money. Robert stresses the importance of being a lifelong learner because it can change your view of the world and allow for new opportunities to appear, and possibly an opportunity to start your own business. This is my favorite lesson because being a lifelong learner will get us out of the rat race of everyday life and allow us to enjoy the time we have without being stressed financially. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is that time for the pros and cons.
Thanks for that, Chris. Now on to some pros. The point of the book is that you should work hard to save money and collect assets that will supplement and eventually replace your regular income. It's also very motivating as it portrays a way of life that many strive for, that being a free and independent lifestyle.
Okay, now on to some cons. The book is ineffective when you start trying to use it for real-world examples. If you try to follow the exact path that Kiyosaki writes about, you're going to find that they are not all that easy to follow and will not always work in today's world. To read or not to read?
So I would recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad as a read because it will share 6 important lessons for beginners on the track to financial freedom, and these are very important lessons for everyone to know. Thanks for listening, everyone.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to share with a friend. Catch you next time.